Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. We are on to the fifth lecture of thermodynamics, class 11, and I hope you have watched the previous videos which I have posted on thermodynamics. Okay, and in this video we will be talking about first law of thermodynamics, internal energy, and the calculation, that is the numericals based upon internal energy, heat and work. Okay, so let's start with it. The first statement we are doing is the law of thermodynamics. We can state it as energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Okay, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Or in simple statement we can say law of conservation of energy. First law of thermodynamics is basically conservation of energy. Like for example, in any form we are talking about the transfer of the energy. If the system loses energy, the energy goes to the surrounding. Okay, and if the surrounding is losing energy, the energy will go to the system. You can take another example, say sunlight. From sunlight, that solar energy is being taken by the plants, that is the chemical which is there in them, and they prepare their food. So from there the energy transformation has taken place from solar to chemical energy. Okay, and further from chemical energy, that is the plants are taken up by they are eaten by the animals. So again it will be transferred to the animals. You can take any other example. Say you have battery. Okay, that is electrical energy stored within it. And if you fit in that battery into the say the toy or maybe wall clock or whatever, so chemical energy will be converted to kinetic energy. It will start moving. Okay, so you rub your hands. This is mechanical energy. We are moving our hands. So when we do that for some time, our hands become hot. I mean, comparatively the temperature rises, so mechanical energy is converted to heat energy. So if one system is losing something, the another one will gain it. Okay, so basically the total energy of the universe remains conserved. Total energy of the universe remains same. This is the main statement we can write down. There are various statements which we can write down for the first law of thermodynamics. So conservation of energy. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, or the total energy of the universe remains constant. The main formula which we will be using in first law of thermodynamics is delta U is equal to delta Q plus delta W. Now what is this delta U? Delta U is change in internal energy. It is change in internal energy. Now what is internal energy? I have not spoken about it. We will be talking about it in this chapter. But the other two we have covered in the previous videos. This is the heat change. Okay. And this is the work. Work can be by the system or on the system. Accordingly, you will take it as minus or plus. For both work and heat, if it is on the system, you do work on the system, heat is taken, heat is given to the system, then you will write down the values with the positive sign. And if it is done by the system, means work is done by the system, heat is given out by the system, then you will take their values as minus. Right? Another thing here, this delta means, comparatively larger change. If we are talking about the small changes in the internal energy, heat or work, so we will represent them with D, differential form. So du is equal to the small change in terms of Q and in terms of the work done. The small change in internal energy is equal to the small change in the heat plus the work. Okay. Now let's understand what is internal energy. Now first thing is we should be knowing that internal energy is represented by the symbol E or U. That is the symbol we use it for the internal energy. Right. Now first let us understand what is internal energy. As the name itself says, the energy stored within the substance, internal energy in the substance. Whatever system we are talking about, the energy stored within that system, energy stored within the substance. Suppose you take, say some salt, say common salt in the watch glass, there is energy stored within that common salt also. How there is energy stored in it? Let us understand. You can write like this: internal energy is sum of various forms of energies. Now, which all forms are there? In suppose that particular example, if we are taking say NaCl, in NaCl, there will be Na plus ions, there will be Cl minus ions. In some other example, there can be atoms, there can be ions, there can be molecules. So what is the energy stored within the atoms, ions, molecules, electrons? So that means we talk about the smaller aspects in this. Smaller, particles which are there within the substance. So what is the energy stored within them? That will be termed as the internal energy. Like, we can write like this: internal energy is the sum of so many forms of the energies. Kinetic energy, potential energy, electronic energy, nuclear energy, and bond energy. Yes. Now, what is electronic energy? In terms of the electrons. The electrons are being attracted towards the nucleus, which is positively charged. Okay. Nuclear energy, energy stored in the nucleus. Bond energy, the bond is there between the two atoms to form a molecule. Potential energy is also because of the attractive force between the nucleus and the electrons. Okay, that is because of the positions. There can be potential energy. Because of the attraction force between the system and the gravity, that means in terms of the gravitational force we can have. You can have a kinetic energy. Kinetic energy can be further of various types. It can be translational energy. It can be vibrational. It can be rotational. Translational means these atoms or ions, they are moving in different directions. They are moving this way, in all directions they are moving. So because of the movement, there is translational energy. Vibrational, when these molecules or atoms, ions, whatever they are moving, they are vibrating on their position. They are vibrating. If they are just moving like this in different directions, it is translational. If they are, vibrating, it is vibrational. Rotational, when it is vibrating, at the same time there can be rotational, means the atoms and ion, whatever it is, they are moving, they are rotating on their axis. So maybe when they are moving in a straight line, there is a rotational energy. So because of translational, vibrational, rotational put together, there is kinetic energy. Potential energy is because of the attractive forces, and there are other forms of the energies also. So put together, all these energies contribute to the internal energy of the system, of the substance. Okay. The absolute values of these various forms of the energies cannot be calculated. Their actual values, absolute values cannot be calculated. So we can only measure the change in the internal energy. Change means delta U, or we can write down delta E. Only the change in the internal energy can be calculated. Now what is the change in the internal energy? It is the internal energy final minus internal energy initial. Okay, that is final minus initial. That is written as the change in the internal energy. Okay, so change can be calculated, and if we are measuring the change, that has to be accurate. For that, there is no issue. Yeah, some more points about internal energy. Internal energy is extensive property. We've already discussed what is extensive property. That depends upon the number. That depends upon the amount of the substance taken. More the substance taken, more the amount of the substance taken, more will be the internal energy, because it will add on to the kinetic energy, potential energy. All these number of the particles have increased, so each particle ka different forms of the energies have to be added together to get the internal energy. Okay, so that will increase. So it is an extensive property. It depends upon the number. Next, it's a state function. Internal energy is a state function. State function means it only depends upon initial and the final state. It is only dependent upon the initial and the final state, not on the path followed. How we go from one state to another system, irrespective of that, the change in the internal energy will remain same. Suppose if I talk about a cyclic process, say you start from here and then you go in all different directions, and this is again the position where you are coming back. That means the initial and the final position is the same. In a cyclic process, obviously, the cyclic doesn't mean always a ring. Cyclic means it is, coming back to the same position. Means initial and the final states are the same. Positions are the same. In that case, we will say the change in the internal energy will always be zero, because the initial and the final states are coinciding. So for a cyclic process, always the change in the internal energy is zero. Another point about internal energy is it depends upon the nature of the substance. It depends upon temperature, pressure, volume, composition. For example, if you take here, say different states of a substance we are taking ice, that is in the solid, then we take it as water in the liquid form, and let that water go in the vapor form. This is the vapor form, that is the gas form, water vapor we are taking. Okay, now what is happening in them? The particles positions are different, kinetic energy in each case will be different, potential energy will be different. So obviously the internal energy here or here or here will be different. If you're trying to measure the change in the internal energy from, say, solid to liquid or from solid to gas, obviously the change in internal energy will be different. It is dependent upon the physical state, the state of a substance, the temperature, pressure, volume and composition. Right? Then, this is another very, very important point, that for ideal gases, the internal energy is the kinetic energy of the molecule. Because for ideal gases, we say that kinetic theory of the gases are applicable. Kinetic theory of the gases are applicable, and as per the kinetic molecular theory of the gases, there are no forces of attractions or between the molecules. There are no forces of attraction between the molecules. So since no force of attraction there between the molecules, we can say for the ideal gases, the potential energy will be zero. No force of attraction. So the total internal energy is the kinetic energy itself. Total internal energy is the kinetic energy itself. Or we can also say that internal energy is directly proportional to temperature in such cases, because we are saying it is dependent upon the kinetic energy, and as per kinetic theory of gases, we know kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. So even internal energy is dependent upon the temperature. Clear? Yeah, another important formula which can be used for the internal energy is that for ideal gases, if we know CV, then we can calculate the change in internal energy as equal to NCV delta T. What is N? Number of moles. This is the change in the temperature. And what is the CV? CV is equal to molar specific heat capacity. It is molar specific heat capacity. And the same thing, if we are referring to the small changes in the volume, small changes, then we will write it as du. In differential form, you'll write this is equal to N CV dt. Okay, what is this? Molar specific heat capacity. CV we write na. CV means at constant volume. At constant volume. This is important formula which we'll be using in numericals also. Please make note of it. Now, at times CV directly is not given. Then you should be knowing the atomicity of the gas. If it is monoatomic or diatomic or polyatomic, then what is the formula that we will write? We have the formula CV is equal to F by 2 R, degrees of freedom by 2 into R. And that freedom F value for monoatomic is 3, for diatomic is 5, for polyatomic it is 6. So you have to just put these values of F These are the various F values, for monoatomic, diatomic and triatomic. So accordingly, for monoatomic gases, what will be the CV value you will have? 3 by 2 of R. For diatomic, 5 by 2 of R. For polyatomic, 6 by 2 of R. Okay, that value we can put, how many moles are given and how much is the change in the temperature. With that, we can calculate what is the internal energy. Fine. Now, let's move on to the numericals now. Say the first question you have is calculate the change in internal energy, that is delta U. In two different cases, they are asking if a system absorbs this much joule of heat and does this much amount of work. So the first question we are solving, you need to read the question properly. Work is done by the system, on the system, heat taken by the system or given out by the system. Here it is saying it absorbed this much amount of heat. That means the Q value is given as plus 15 kilojoules. It is taking this much heat. And does it this much work? Means the work W is given as minus 5. Minus 5 this thing. Okay. So that you can write down as the changes. And you're asked to calculate the change in the internal energy. So if this is given in delta, let us write this also in the delta. So what formula you have? Same first law of thermodynamics formula. Delta U is equal to delta Q plus delta W. And you have to put these, values along with plus and minus. So what was the work done here? The heat absorbed by the system plus 15. Work done was minus 5. So when you solve it, it comes out to be 10 kilojoules. This much is the change in internal energy. Likewise, you can do the second question. It says this much joule of work, kilojoules of work is done on the system. This much is done on the system. That means delta W is given as plus 5. It's given as plus 5 kilojoules. And this much heat is given out by the system. Don't just see by and write on minus. Sometimes it is absorbed by the system. That way also it is given. So here it is given out by the system. Means obviously it is minus now in this case. Q is equal to minus 15 kilojoules. And you're asked to calculate delta U. Delta U is equal to delta Q plus delta W. Put these values with their signs. So minus 15 and this is plus 5. So you will get the answer in this case as minus 10 kilojoules. This was the simplest question. I hope you have followed it. Yeah, moving on to the next question, which says that temperature of 1 mole of oxygen gas is raised from 20 to 120. From 20 it has become 120 at constant pressure. And you are asked to calculate U, W, Q and delta U, where the Cp is given. Cp is given as 7 calories per Kelvin per mole. Okay. So first thing is we will have to calculate what is Q. This Q. Q is equal to NC because it is for that Cp. Constant pressure, they are calculating Cp and delta T. We know the moles are given, 1 mole, put the value mole. Cp value is given as 7 and the temperature it is 100 degree. 100, we are not supposed to convert them into Kelvin because we are only bothered about the change. If you convert it or not, it doesn't make any difference. So you will have your answer as 700 calories. This much calorie is your first part, that is Q. Now in the second part they are asking you to calculate W and U also. So how we calculate U, that is the change in internal energy. You know in the beginning here I have given you the formula. Delta U is equal to NCV delta T. That is always there for calculating delta U. You have to use CV only. This is the heat change taking place at constant volume. Enthalpy will be the heat change taking place at the constant pressure. In this case, you have to use CV only. We don't know CV in the question. It is given CP. But in the previous videos, I have told you CP minus CV is equal to R. CP minus CV is equal to R. From here we can calculate what is CV. CV is equal to, you can take it here, it will be CP minus R. You can calculate this way and you can put the, so you can do here 7 minus, this is given in calories. So this also we can write down in calories. R value in calories 2 calorie per Kelvin per mole. You can put the value, so you will get CV value as 5. Okay, so first what we did was we have calculated this part. This is the first part of the question, and to calculate this we have first calculated what is CV, and now we will put the CV value here. Number of mole is 1, CV value is 5, and the change in temperature is given as 100. So you have delta U as 500. Okay, 500 calories you will have. Now we are left over with the last part, calculating W. You have this formula, delta U is equal to Q plus delta W. Put their value, this is 500, and this delta U, this thing Q was given as 700 and plus delta W. So you will get this as minus 200 calories. Minus 200 calories. I hope you have followed. Please write down these numericals in your notes copy for better understanding. Now moving on to another question. In an isothermal process, isothermal means temperature is constant. This much joule of work is done on ideal gas. That means this is given as the value here. You will take it as plus. You will take it as plus 100 joules. Okay. They are asking to calculate delta U and heat. First thing, isothermal they have given. In the beginning I told you ideal gas, for the internal energy for the ideal gases is only dependent upon the temperature. It is directly proportional to the temperature. Yes, so it is kept constant. When temperature is kept constant means for isothermal processes delta U will be always 0. So one work is done. You have the formula, delta U is equal to delta Q plus delta W. This is 0. Delta U, Q we have to calculate, and the work done is given as plus 100. We have put the value here. So what will be delta Q equal to? You can take it on the left hand side. It will become minus. So it will be equal to minus 100 joule. Got this question also? So this please underline, for isothermal processes delta U will be always taken as 0. Now next question. It says 2 moles of ideal gas. Number of moles are given, 2 moles, and at 2 atmosphere and 27 degrees Celsius is compressed. Some gas at this much mole, pressure is this, temperature, it is compressed isothermally. Again isothermally means this will be 0. Okay, it is compressed isothermally to half the volume. Volume is reduced to half when this much is the external pressure which is applied onto it. This is external pressure applied. The work done you have to calculate this. One thing, we know the work done is given as minus P external into delta V. Delta V. That we have done the formula in the previous videos. Now, we need to find the change in the volume first. We don't know what is the change in the volume. We know pressure external. We know pressure external is 4. We don't know the change in the volume. So first let us find out what is the initial volume so as to calculate the next volume, which is half they are saying. Okay. So what we will have to do is, we will first be using the formula PV is equal to nRT to calculate the initial volume. Let this be your initial volume. So you can have this V initial is equal to nRT by P. Substitute the values which are given, number of moles 2. Okay. The R value also we can substitute. Everything is given in atmosphere. So let us find the volume also in liter only. So we will use the value for R as 0.0821. Okay. And the temperature is given in the question as 27 degrees means 300. and divided by the pressure. Pressure here is given as 2. Not this pressure. This is the external pressure, so you will be using that pressure here. This is 2 atmosphere. So you can put all those values and calculate. The initial volume comes out to be 25.42. Okay. And now you know the final volume. What will be the final volume? We know the final volume is half of it. That means the final volume comes out to be 12.71 liter. This is liter, this is also liter. Fine. So one thing is, we know from the question the initial volume was more and the final volume is less. That is why it is getting compressed. So the change in the volume will come out to be negative. So let's now put the volume. Final volume is this 12.71 minus the initial volume is this one 25.42. Okay, so this will come out to be negative. No problem. This negative and this negative, the work done will be positive because in compressing, the work is done on the system. Okay, so when this is minus, the overall work done will come out to be positive. You will get the answer when you solve it as 50.84 liter atmosphere. This is in atmosphere and this is in liter. And we have to convert it into joules. Okay, to convert that, if you remember in the previous videos also I have told you that 1 liter atmosphere is equal to 101.3 joules. So this relation we will be using. You will be multiplying this value with 101.3, and when you multiply this you will get it as 5150 joules. So there are two things we have calculated so far. This is the work, this will be positive. Work done we have calculated. This we know is 0 as such, and then we will have to calculate Q also. So to calculate Q, what we will do? We'll be using the formula again the same. This is equal to delta Q plus delta W. We know this is 0. Delta Q will, this will be plus now, plus 5150. So obviously when we are calculating delta Q, it will come out to be minus 5150 joules. Is this point clear? Now moving on to another question which is in the form of a graph. Suppose you have this PV graph, some system at point A, we need to move to B. From A to B, there are two possible paths, path 1 and path 2. There are two possible paths, and the question is, calculate in which case the heat change will be more, Q1 or Q2. Heat change will be more, that is Q1 will be not heat change, in fact not the heat change, in fact Q1 or Q2, which will be more. Q1 refers to the heat in first path, heat in second path is Q2, right? So this is what they are asking. How we will go ahead? You can pause in between and try to solve it on your own, then I will tell you. Have you done it? Chalo, I will tell you how to do it. First thing, we know Q and W, they are path functions. They are path functions. They will not be dependent upon the initial and the final states. They will be dependent upon the path followed. There is only one thing which is not dependent on the path followed, that is the change in internal energy. Change in internal energy will be same whether it is by first path or by the second path. So we can say the change in internal energy in path 1 is equal to the change in the internal energy in path 2. This is path 1, this is path 2. The change in internal energy in both the paths is same. Another thing, you can expand this delta U. You can write down this one as Q, delta Q1 plus delta W1. This further you can write it as delta Q2 plus delta W2. For 2 we can write down in terms of 2 and for 1 in terms of 1. Fine. Now, we can calculate the work done in both the paths. In the previous video I have told you how to calculate the work done from moving the object from A to B. If it is by path 1, the area under this curve, this will be the work done. And if it is by path 2, that is this path, then the work done will be the area under this path. The area under path 1 is more than the path 2. That we can make out. This area is more than the second one. So obviously the work done in the first path will be more. That part we know. The work done in first path is greater than the work done in the second path. But one thing also we know it, that the sum with heat is equal. We know that this work done in first path is more. Let it be some value. If this is more than this one, okay, then obviously you can make out that this Q1 will be greater or lesser. Just think over it. For that, one very important thing you should know, that work done is minus or plus. Because from A to B, volume is increasing. Volume is increasing, so work is done by the system. So one more thing we know about it is that delta Q1, this is minus. Let it be some value, okay, let it be say W1 I am writing. This is equal to delta Q2 and this is also minus. Okay, both are minus. This part we know because work is done by the system in expansion. Both are minus. Okay, now what you can do, we can assume some values. Suppose this first W1 is, work done is more we are saying, suppose this is 8. And this second one, suppose I am writing as 5. And we know that the difference, this part and this part is equal. Suppose the answer here on the left hand side, I am saying is say 10. And here also it is 10. We know that what should be the value here? Such that both are equal to 10. This should be 18 and this should be 15. That means obviously you will always get Q1 greater. So what we can conclude in the question, that the heat change in the first part will be greater than the heat change taking place in the second. The heat in first will be greater than the heat in the second one. I hope you have followed. So important, nice question. Please practice what all things we have done in this chapter, in this video properly. So for the remaining topics, we will meet again in the next videos. Thank you.